Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and thank you for joining me on this end of the day update with AMC stock. We're going to talk about everything that has happened today with AMC as well as the broad markets, but most importantly into AMC numbers and where things currently sit. If you guys have not seen the last video as well, I highly recommend you guys watch that. How Intera Capital is selling millions of ape shares, really showing a lack of confidence heading into a new core update coming very shortly. Now, here in this video, like I said, we're going to focus on AMC, but we're also going to talk about Tesla because Tesla is going to be reporting earnings here in about a half an hour, likely by the time some of you guys are watching this video, if not shortly after you guys are watching this video. And there's two metrics that will drive Tesla stock, and I doubt it's going to be something like Netflix, where it drops a lot and then it pops back up. There's really only two things markets care about when it comes down to Tesla, and we'll get into those two factors here in this video. Now, if you guys also want to come trade with me live in real time, link down below in the description of this video. Did make a trade on Tesla, not looking too pretty heading into earnings, but I mean, what you're seeing right now is pretty encouraging as far as the data, and we go over that in the trading group. Link down below if you guys want to be a part of it. Never financial advice, but a good tool to have nonetheless. So first things first, in the markets today, you didn't have a lot as far as economic data. You did have oil numbers coming out, basically rig numbers that came out right here, and it did make oil rally for a period in time, and that also did help the bonds to rally. Now, really the big story of the day today is UK's inflation rate came in at 10.1%, with the fastest inflation with food prices in 45 years. Usually what happens in Europe has some residual effect to what happens in America. So inflation going higher again sent the bond yields higher, and especially because you were seeing pretty good economic data coming out, a lot better than where it could be. The Atlanta Fed GDP Now tracker is sitting at like 2.5% for the GDP estimate for Q1. That's far from a recession. So the markets have been expecting Fed rate cuts based off of this recession and earnings being bad and the banking crisis. Well, none of that is actually materializing. None of it. So when you get bad inflation data like this, the markets are going to become more fearful and concerned about Fed policy, but number one, the course of inflation. We seen last week the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Survey seen the biggest jump to one-year inflation expectations that you have seen throughout this whole inflation debacle, going from 3.6% to 4.6%. That is showing inflation might start to get unanchored. Now, don't be confused. We don't have economic data for a while now. We got all of our economic data pretty much last week. So main concern will be on earnings, and that is substantial enough to drive the markets one way or another. From my point of view right now, from what I have seen, is that AMC has been discorrelating the markets. It's really had that negative beta a lot recently, whereas when big tech is up, AMC is up usually, but not to the extent that big tech is up, right? AMC is up like 0.5% today. Apple is up 1%. But when Apple falls 1%, AMC is up like 4.5% to 6%. And you've seen that correlation recently a lot, and I think it has to do with the collateral that is used to back these short positions. When collateral goes down, they have to pledge more collateral, or they have to upside hedge their short position to cap that loss, more or less. So I think Tesla earnings will be vitally important to the markets and can really help drive AMC stock coming tomorrow and over the next couple of days. So really the three important metrics, you could boil this down to two, is going to be the earnings per share, right? Because that's net profitability. You're expecting 85 cents earnings per share and revenue of 23.21 billion. Now, factor these two things really out the equation. I think EPS will be important, and that is one of the things to watch out of the two. But forget that. It's margins. margins are key with Tesla. If Tesla can give you these price cuts that they've been doing, even one more price cut happening today, lowering the price of the Model Y now under $40,000. If they can give you these price cuts but still maintain their margins, that's going to be fantastic. Tesla stock will be off to the races. If they are sacrificing margins for volume, that's not going to be a good thing. Now, what you are expecting, and granted, last year's margins were 25.6%. These are gross margins, so their net profit's like half of this, right? This is gross margin, 25.6% last year. The street is modeling for gross profit margins of 21.9% this year, as if to not factor in price cuts. So right now, people are not really expecting, the numbers here don't expect these price cuts to materially affect margins. If they are, that's a problem. If they are not, that is a good thing. And this could be the difference between a 20% rally or drop. If margins come in less than 20%, you're probably going to get a 15 to 20% drop. That's the bottom line. If they come in better than 20%, maybe they're 21 or 22%, you're probably going to get a 20% rally to the upside. That's how I'm looking at Tesla right here. That's the biggest metric. And like I said, it will affect AMC. So do keep that in mind. Now, if we switch gears to talk about AMC, AMC is currently up almost 1%. You do have 29 minutes left of the trading day. I'm trying to get you guys this video out a little bit earlier so you guys can get a preview of what markets are expecting with Tesla as well. Like I said, I think it'll be important. Now, the live short interest of free float sitting at 26.15%, 135 million shares that are currently sold short, cost to borrow average of 343.29%, cost to borrow max 366.1%, cost to borrow minimum at 219.12%. Some extreme numbers that you're seeing over here. AMC remains to be on the threshold securities list as well. And if we take a look at the failure to deliver numbers, go ahead and refresh this page. Today is April 19th. Looks to be about 2.6 million FTDs that did need to be covered, and that is per the T+35 settlement time. Tomorrow is going to be about 2.3 million FTDs that will need to be covered as well. Now, continuing on, you ramp up to 6.3 million FTDs coming on April 21st. No surprise there's this many FTDs, as this Friday is going to be a massive option expiration for AMC, and I explained in the last video how a combination of factors of earnings and a potential update from the courts could give you a gamma ramp or a little bit of a gamma squeeze heading into this Friday just based off of the option positioning right now. So for April 21st, this Friday, 63,000 calls in the money, 418,000 calls that are out of the money. In the money puts at 210,000, out the money puts at 656,000. Some extreme numbers that you're seeing here. And it's not 50-50, but it's not too bad, right? There is a lot of puts in the money. That could be a lot of potential buying pressure if AMC does rally. Again, a lot of calls out the money could be a lot of buying pressure if AMC can manage to rally. And I do think you might get an update from the courts this week. I'm not going to hold my hat to it, but it is possible, and it's not too uncommon to get an update from Chancery Courts a week before the court date is supposed to be had. So not going to hold my hat to it, like I said, but it is definitely a possibility that you should be made fully aware about. Now, as far as everything else, economic data coming out tomorrow, not a whole lot. You do have Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Index as well as initial jobless claims, expecting that to come in at about 240,000. Probably going to be a nothing burger, but we'll see. Fed Waller does speak at noon, as well as Great Britain's consumer confidence and the Japan inflation rate. None of these I expect to be huge catalysts. Definitely not as important to Tesla, and that's really going to drive the markets coming tomorrow. Now, taking a look at the option activity in AMC stock here today, you got about 32% positive order value, 28 orders totaling $3.5 million. Nothing to really see here, in line with what we have seen recently. If you take a look at Tesla, Tesla is down about 1%. Taking a look at the option activity for the day, pretty bearish relative to what you see on Tesla before earnings. In total, about $700 million worth of options placed on Tesla, 613 orders total. totaling a positive order value of about 47%. So quite negative, and some of these trades are quite negative. So that margin number will be top of mind. That will be the big story here in After Hours, guys. Nonetheless, that's what I got for you guys here today. Like I said, again, the bond yields rallied exponentially today. They've come down towards the end of the day, but even right here it says the headline under the bonds on CNBC: Treasury yields rise on global inflation concerns after another hot reading in the UK, and they are up about 3 basis points. At one point they were up about 6 basis points. TLT, all bond prices basically fell off a cliff today. Like, it was virtually straight down, and especially on that 2-year bond as well, was not pretty, right? So typically that does not help technology, although markets are slightly in the green today. Everyone is waiting on Tesla, and I think there's big implications for what Tesla has to say. So that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all of that good stuff. Most importantly, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.